Let's take a look back at the 2023 MLB trade deadline 3 years later. Looking at some of these trades, feels like a fever dream. Doesn't even feel like some of this stuff ever actually happened or existed. Before we get going into it, make sure you are subscribed to the Windup for all your MLB and trade deadline content. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. Links are in the description. And of course, a big shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. You'll hear more from them later. All right, James, let's get it started off with an absolute banger. This one was near and dear to our hearts. We were still working for this organization at the time. The New York Mets traded Justin Verlander in cash to the Houston Astros for Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford.
I even think we should group this in with the Mets trading Max Scherzer and cash for Luisangel Acuna, because a funny thing about this trade deadline and the trade deadline we're coming up to now is that a couple similar concepts are rearing their head. The first of which being the Mets are massive sellers in a horrible season. And at the time, it felt kind of shocking because the Mets were 1 year off winning 100 games, and they went way out of their way to sign Justin Verlander to a monster 2-year deal and had Max Scherzer still on the roster on his monster 3-year deal, if I remember correctly. And we just lost Jacob deGrom. So all this stuff was still very fresh at the time. And we were excited when all these were happening. One, just for the sake of infusing minor league talent in the Mets organization, and two, getting off these big contracts. But these trades kind of wound up being a bunch of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like Drew Gilbert eventually then got flipped. I love now being able to like do the trade.
And Luisangel Acuna got flipped.
Yeah, Luisangel Acuna got flipped. Ryan Clifford might get flipped at some point in his career just because he hasn't really done much. But Drew Gilbert ends up going to the Giants then. Last year, we get Tyler Rogers. It didn't work. Ryan Clifford still hasn't really blossomed into the prospect that we hoped. The Astros got Justin Verlander. Didn't really do much for them. So, like, this trade all around was nothing. And then for the Rangers, they got Max Scherzer. The Rangers won a World Series that year in spite of Max Scherzer doing his best to make sure that they didn't because he pitched horrendously down the stretch. And then Luisangel Acuna for us became Luis Robert. And Luis Robert hasn't done anything for us because he's been hurt. And Luisangel Acuna has been awful.
And the Mets are looking to probably trade Luis Robert again as we get to this trade deadline. And it just was funny, too, that the pairing of Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer did wind up being World Series caliber with a lot of other stuff. But that was, at least, again, trying to grab something from that deadline that makes us think about something from this deadline. This is a big string to pull on.
And this is something that pissed off a lot of people in Major League Baseball, that Steve Cohen got to use his money to his advantage again because he took these bad contracts for players that he didn't want, said, I'm going to pay the money on the contract, but you're going to give us good prospects back. So now, not only was Steve Cohen paying for players on free agency, he was now paying for the prospects that he wants as well.
And the prospects still didn't wind up amounting to much, really, at
No.
all. And it wasn't like these prospects didn't have big pedigree. Like Luisangel Acuna, Ronald Acuna's younger brother, who had a lot of prospects shine at the time, hoping power would have popped up, was a big signee at the international class when he was. And then Gilbert was a first-round pick 2 years before this, or 1 year before this, and Ryan Clifford was a 9th or 10th round pick, but he got like a second-round bonus pick because he was such a big high school player, and the Astros signed him away from Vanderbilt. So again, a message about the trade deadline that a lot of times, sure, selling as a team that season's over is really nice and fun and hopeful, but you always kind of feel like you're in a better spot as the buyer.
100%. I feel like the buyers are always in the better spot, unless you're the A's and you got Leo Dallas DeVries for a reliever. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks, America's #1 sports picks app. Use our code HMA to get $50 in lineups instantly as soon as you play your first $5 lineup. So click the link in the description right now, download the PrizePicks app, and make sure you use our code HMA to get in on this offer. Because PrizePicks is so easy to use. Simply select more or less on a few different player stats, lock them into your lineup, and then see how those players do. For my first pick, I'm going with less than 3.5 strikeouts for Eduardo Rivera of the Boston Red Sox. And then I'm going with more than 7 strikeouts for Chris Sale. He's facing a horrible Texas Rangers lineup. And then more than 6 hitter fantasy points for Vlad Guerrero Jr. What's also great about PrizePicks is that it's available in most states, including Florida, California, Texas, even the state of New York. So what are you guys waiting for? Download the PrizePicks app right now by clicking the link in the description, and make sure you use our code HMA when you sign up to get $50 in lineups instantly as soon as you play your first $5 lineup. Big thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
And another time, when if you're in a buyer, you might not be in a better spot. Another thread I want to pull in this trade deadline that reminds me of this trade deadline. This was the Angels in their final stand, going all in with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in the same team.
Yep.
And they went ballistic at this trade deadline. One of the biggest moves of the whole thing being acquiring Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez, who are always attached at the hip. I really was hoping the Braves could have brought Giolito in just to keep that joke going this year. But for Edgar Kara, who was a fun prospect at the time, and Kai Busch, and that was one of a handful of trades the Angels made this deadline.
Yeah, they made a ton. None of them were the right trades, which is hilarious because they could have gotten Junior Caminero for Shohei Ohtani at this, and boy, oh boy, would the Angels have found a way to still fuck him up. So, hindsight's 2020, but he would not be the Junior Caminero that he is today. There's no doubt about that, but it's crazy that they didn't move on from Shohei when he had no intention of ever truthfully re-signing with the Angels. What's funny, too, about this is that the Angels then, I believe, DFA'd Lucas Giolito soon after getting him, not too long after.
A month later.
And then I believe I saw Lucas Giolito pitch for the Guardians at Angel Stadium at a time when me and you did a little kind of mini baseball trip where I was like getting random MLB jerseys, go to that game. We were in Chicago, Atlanta, and then I went to Anaheim to watch that game. That was a fever dream too that weekend.
Right, and even on top of that, Angels acquired C.J. Cron and Randall Grichuk for 2 minor league pitchers, Mason Albright and Jake Madden. Wow, remember the Benjamin Albright, Jake Madden viral leather?
Yeah,
Madden and Albright together. That was some good ADHD there. But it was just
horrible trades.
Still, they're the Angels. So they didn't really wind up trading any prospects. So no harm, no foul for that at the end of the day. But you feel this right now with the Detroit Tigers, where they are only 3.5 games out of a playoff spot, and they're a much better team right now as a full team. Much, much, much better than what the Angels were in 2023. But they're staring down the option of being able to trade Tarek Skubal and getting a ton of talent back, or give it one more shot with the fella.
Also a conversation of, not even to a lesser degree, trading away a guy like Casey Mize is going to be a discussion since he's a free agent at the end of the year. But he's been great, and if they want to make a playoff push, I think he has to be in that rotation. But one guy who I don't think will be in that rotation, because he gets traded every year at the deadline, despite him being what, James?
TDS.
Turbo. Dog shit. That's going to be Jack Flaherty, and that's when the Orioles acquired him from the Cardinals for Cesar Prieto, Drew Rom, and Zach Showalter. And to be fair, none of the pieces that they gave up matter at all, but Jack Flaherty stinking it up as always.
No, it's even funny to think about how long ago this was, that at this time we thought everything the Orioles touched turned to gold, and there was a short period, about 4 or 5 starts after this deadline, where Jack Flaherty got his velocity back. Yep. And he was sitting 94, 95, 96, touching 97. We were like, oh my God, the Orioles did it again. Imagine a sentence like that coming out of your mouth right now. It would have a very different meaning. But it's also funny just think about how many teams Jack Flaherty's played on since now he was traded from the Cardinals.
Yeah, Orioles, Cardinals, Dodgers, Tigers.
Back to the Tigers.
Back to the Tigers. It's insane.
No, he's actually been pitching better lately. And if he's a guy that becomes available, I think he honestly will get traded once again, of course.
Quick conversation about some other trades that happened on deadline day, August 1st. Michael Lorenzen for Hao-Yu Lee is kind of funny because Hao-Yu Lee is having an impact at the major league level-ish for the Tigers, and Michael Lorenzen is, I think, statistically the worst pitcher in baseball this year for the Rockies. That's not really fair
his fault.
to him.
Not his fault. Yeah, I mean, Hao-Yu Lee's a fun piece. He's been a platoon guy for the Tigers, at least someone who looks like they'll be capable of being on a major league roster moving forward. Some other fun trades that happened, like just around this one. I remember at the time, this felt major as one that came down. Again, it's kind of light before the deadline. Rangers acquired Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton for John King, Tekoa Roby, and Thomas Saggese.
Whoa, so John King went from the Cardinals to the Marlins then?
Yes, and Tekoa Roby now went from... Oh, he's still in the Cardinals organization.
He's in the Cardinals org, yeah.
And Saggese is as well. Saggese's had some reps at the big league level. I don't know if he'll ever swing a big league stick, but he's at least someone who is 45 future value, provides major league depth. And Tekoa Roby still seems like a guy who actually has a path to major league relevance at some point.
Yeah, he seems decent. He could be a guy who could be on the move this year if the Cardinals are looking to make trades at the deadline.
But Montgomery was a piece for the Rangers down the stretch. And it's weird to think about that version of Jordan Montgomery because of all the nonsense that happened with Jordan Montgomery since. And this was also his second consecutive trade deadline being moved, where he was the last second deal in 2022 for Harrison Bader from the Yankees, which is another one that's weird to think about now looking back. But this was one that a team who was going all in probably did relatively trade. I mean, even Stratton got legit innings for them down the stretch there. But like, this was one that you look back like, oh, this actually had a big impact on who won the World Series that season.
It's also kind of funny to think about, too, that Jordan Montgomery helped the Rangers beat the Diamondbacks in the World Series, and the Diamondbacks gave him what has been one of the worst contracts in baseball.
Ever. In actual fights with the owner about how bad that contract is.
Insane.
But yeah, other good ones here.
I had a good one.
What you got?
Marlins acquired Josh Bell from the Guardians for Gene Segura and Khalil Watson. I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Didn't realize Gene Segura was playing baseball that recently. Didn't
was the
realize he
end.
ever went to the Guardians. That's something that wasn't in my brain. And I thought that Khalil Watson got DFA'd by the Marlins. I thought they just kind of let him go. I know DFA is not the right term, but I thought they just kind of had enough of him because he had some off-the-field stuff, I think, and attitude problems at the time in Miami. And I thought the Guardians just picked him up. I didn't realize there was a trade for this.
No, and Khalil Watson's doing a very Guardians thing right now. Where he got called up for the team in a pinch, can't hit a lick, but is actually playing very helpful defense for them in the outfield.
How about this hilarious trade?
Yeah.
Rich Hill and G-Man Joy to the Padres from the Pirates.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. Rich Hill in a trade in 2023.
I have another one here that's even crazier. Rays acquire Aaron Savale from Guardians for Kyle Manzardo. Because Manzardo looks like, again, it's the kind of archetype that the Rays love to get off of, and I think they knew that Aranda probably had a leg up on him, and that I think they still had Yandy Diaz, who was still great, and Manzardo hasn't had a good year this year after a very good season last year where he nearly knocked 30 home runs and has 770 OPS, but he probably is a guy that is a platoon positive dude in the batting order, a major league lineup for the duration of his rookie contract, and Aaron Savale has been traded 2 more times since then. He just got DFA'd. Like, what a horrible fall from grace from Savale. Also, while getting shots with the 2 best teams in Major League Baseball, I think, for like professional pitching development, the Rays and the Brewers.
Yeah, he's gotten looks. Not really stuck anywhere by any of those means.
No, it seems like he didn't really take care of himself on that path.
No, I don't think so. He looks like a bag of mashed potatoes. How about just for fun for us? Tommy Pham for Jeremy Rodriguez, another Mets trade.
Great. The Mets did a lot of other trades in this one. Again, for a lot of prospects, it didn't wind up going anywhere. But it was really fun at the time to think that we really boosted the system.
Weird trade, Jake Berger for Jakey Eater.
Oh, yeah, the Jake off. And then Jake Berger getting traded for which minor leaguer was that really young dude that went? Oh, what's the guy's name? Like defensive specialist way down the low minors, went from the Rangers to the Marlins. I'll figure that out now in a second.
Can't figure it out.
I'll get you now. But that was the one that where either kind of looked like he was a fun, hipstery, pop-up, command over stuff prospect for a while, and just arm problems have kind of destroyed him. And Berger had good years for the Marlins. And he's been really quietly solid run producer for the Rangers this year as well. Not flashy, nothing crazy, but like Jake Berger's just kind of putting on his hard hat, going to work. He's going to drive in 90 runs.
How about this trade? Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds for Ryan Weathers. Who the fuck is Sean Reynolds? I don't remember who that guy is.
Infielder?
Right-handed pitcher. I have no clue who Sean Reynolds is right now. That's not a name I'm familiar with. And Garrett Cooper having any value is kind of hilarious. Padres were like, prospects don't want him. Get him away from us ever.
I have one that actually wound up being pretty impactful to this exact Major League season we're in right now.
Okay, what is it?
Your favorite guy, Diamondbacks acquire relief pitcher Paul Sewald, who, again, massive for them down the stretch that year.
Yes, huge.
Some bad moments in the playoffs, but you absolutely take what Paul Sewald was able to give you during the stretch last year. From the Mariners for infielder Josh Rojas, who actually was a piece for the Mariners down the stretch that year as they kind of still try to get over the hump. Ryan Bliss, who was a bit of a piece for them last year. And Dominic Canzone.
Wow.
Original
okay.
Diamondbacks farmhand draftee.
Nice. That's a good little move for the Mariners there.
That's a fun one. That's interesting to think of thinking about a trade tree and the fact that Paul Sewald has found his way back to the Diamondbacks to be helpful for them. Oh, the camera. We didn't turn the camera off in between recording.
Oh, no, the camera.
Oh, it's too hot in this room.
So hot in the room. Honestly, man, the AC is so loud.
Is it? How loud is it?
Put it on real quick. And Kieran, you can leave this in. I want to see. I mean, it is chugging. You hear the air consistently.
Yeah, you can definitely. It's very close to the microphone. It's just where the window is.
You know what? It's okay. Maybe you leave it on to cool it down for a little bit, and you mute while you're not talking. Yeah, there we go. Just something like that. I've got another fun one for you. Mariners acquiring Edward Bizardo from the Orioles. I did not realize that Edward Bizardo was not a Mariners guy for that time. That's interesting. It's pretty big impact arm for them over the last couple of years. It's a nice little pickup for them.
Oh, this is a nice little look for Jerry Depo, though. Cherry to Jerry, finding his ways to get into some very useful pieces for them. Another one here. Wow, I like digging through these deadlines. They're kind of like a scavenger hunt when you go through this deadline years later to try and see which of the players actually did something.
Well, this is funny ones because the A's actually acquired 2 young pitchers during this trade deadline in trades that are no longer with their organization. So again, would have to trace back the trade tree here. But Joe Boyle went to the A's from the Reds in exchange for Sam Moll. And then Chad Patrick went to the A's at the deadline for Jace Peterson. Two guys who were like major league pitchers for other teams, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, two guys they could probably use. Similar one. This guy hasn't turned the corner yet. He's actually had a disappointing season, but the stuff looks like he'll be good enough to be a helpful player eventually. The Blue Jays trading reliever Matt Swanson for Paul DeYoung.
Yep.
And DeYoung had didn't he have like a crazy week after that trade
He
and
might
nothing
have,
happened
yeah.
after that? Something weirdly happened with that.
AJ Pollock was playing baseball in 2023. That's
Yeah,
insane.
he was still. Oh, that's a shame. AJ Pollock, gone too soon. The injuries.
Yeah. How about this? Cubs acquiring Jamer Candelario, your boy, for Kevin Made and DJ Hers, which DJ Hers looked like a decent little pitcher for the Nationals last year before he got hurt.
Yeah, he's mixed around a little bit. That's someone that probably winds up being useful in the future. You keep looking at these trade deadlines though, and it's and we saw this last year. Sometimes there's just big trades just don't really happen.
No, sometimes they don't. And sometimes the best trades are these kind of fringy ones for guys that end up being major league players down the line for you. Getting some value of free guys, which is kind of crazy.
Here's another funny one too, especially the way this player did early in the season. Now he's of course gone way back to earth. Angels acquire right-handed pitcher Dominic Leone from the Mets. Don't remember that.
I remember that. I hated him.
Oh, yeah. He got a cup of coffee for a month that spring. Not spring, May, June. For infielder Jeremiah Jackson, who then the Mets released, called on with the Orioles, had an amazing April and May this year while the Orioles were trying to figure things out.
Remember when Jordan Hicks got traded to the Blue Jays?
Yeah, now I do.
That's crazy.
White Sox acquired Luis Patino for cash. One day, Luis Patino. One day, bring it back together.
Out for Luis Patino. Oh, this is
the one.
Love this trade. Dodgers acquire Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly. No one talks about the players that the Dodgers trade away enough. For Nick Nastrini, Jordan Leisure, one of your favorite random bullpen guys, and Trace Thompson. What a weird little trade.
Cubs acquire Jose Cuas, shout out Brooklyn, for Nelson Velasquez. Both of those guys have mixed around for a few different major league teams over the years, contributing in just various ways.
Yeah, David Robertson, because he was the closer for the Mets this year, because Edwin Diaz, we know what happened there for Marco Vargas and Ronald Hernandez. Vargas has slowed up a little bit as a prospect. I think Hernandez is still swinging it okay.
Yes, he looks like he'll probably be a depth catcher in organization, one that's fine for that. Newly minted member of the Food Network, Mark Canha, traded from the Mets to the Brewers for right-handed pitcher.
What?
You didn't see that clip going around yesterday?
No.
Yeah, he got a Food Network spot.
Oh, good for Mark Canha. What a good dude. Great palate on Mark Canha.
Yeah, great pal, Mark Canha. Just a really, really nice guy. Someone that also could definitely mix into media. And if it went being food rather than baseball, I think that's a nice move for him as well.
Do you want a Mr. Krabs woozy moment on this trade here?
Yes.
Dodgers acquire Ahmed Rosario from the Guardians for Noah Syndergaard. That's you tell a Mets fan in 2017, 2018 that I'd pass out.
Yeah, he should pass out. That's horrible. I mean, and Rosario is another guy. Had big plate appearances with that Dodgers team down the stretch.
He's had big, and he's turned into a very nice Major League Baseball player now that he was not considered to be the next Jose Reyes at shortstop.
Yeah, just a weird fit as now a utility platoon guy who matches lefties, but you just kind of have to do what you have to do to catch on in the league.
Whoa.
What'd you say?
Kike Hernandez acquired from the Red Sox for Nick Robertson and Justin Hagenman, New York Mets.
Nice. Another one, Mets attached. Marlins acquire right-handed pitcher Jorge Lopez for Dylan Floro from the Twins.
Dylan Floro ended up being an okay reliever.
Jorge Lopez had moments.
Yeah.
Here's someone who's an active closer right now in the playoff race. Mariners acquire Trent Thornton from the Blue Jays for Mason McCoy. Trent Thornton right now is a part-time closer with the Cubs.
And Mason McCoy is on the Padres now, I believe.
Is he on the bench role?
I think he's I think he's had some good games against the Mets as a Padre, which is something that sticks in my craw.
This is a fun one too. This is just the epitome of dudes naming dudes.
This is awesome. I love this.
Braves acquired Pierce Johnson from Rockies for Victor Vodnik and Tanner Gordon. That's an interesting trade with Vodnik with a hint of prospect shine at the time, and Pierce Johnson having years of consistency in the Braves bullpen.
Yeah, and just get Victor Vodnik out of Colorado. He probably ends up being a pretty good reliever, honestly. A guy that we saw at the Arizona Fall League. We're this guy's got some stuff.
I like that fastball. Here's
good fastball.
Here's a name. You'll never remember this one. I mean, you don't even want to remember this one. Orioles acquire right-handed pitcher Shintaro Fujinami from the Athletics for Easton Lucas.
What the hell is he up to?
Yeah, I was going to say, where's Shintaro Fujinami pitching right now? He's got to be back in the MPB, right?
Has Shintaro Fujinami thrown a pitch in the last 3 years professionally?
Let's see. I need to get MPB on Baseball Reference.
That's crazy.
Shintaro Fujinami. Oh, yeah, he's pitching right now. Yokohama.
Yokohama?
Okay.
All right, Shintaro, good for you.
Yeah, the Japan Central League.
Oh man, some of these other. This is a horrible trade deadline. My God,
Terrible
Here,
trade deadline.
here is actually probably the most impactful trade of the entire trade deadline. Right here, June 30th. Forget about it because it's one of the first trades made. Aroldis Chapman getting traded to the Texas Rangers from the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
That's a major reason why the Texas Rangers won the World Series. Aroldis Chapman, I think in the regular season struggled, but I think in the playoffs was nails.
Got it together.
And the Royals got Cole Reagans, who, if Cole Reagans is ever healthy, he's a great pitcher. He's never healthy. That's the problem. But for a while, this was like one of those handshake. Good job from both sides.
That's very fun. I remember that one at the time, and I feel like I was way on the wrong side of that.
Did you love you loved Chapman?
Yes, and he was terrible in the regular season, but then again, he got it together for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest name trade from this in terms of sheer impact. Not seeing a lot of bats moved this deadline, which was interesting.
And there were still guys hanging around. Ben Gamel, Tyson Miller, PJ Higgins. I think PJ Higgins is still hanging around somewhere.
PJ Higgins, my God.
Braves acquired Taylor Hearn. He flashed for a moment in time.
Kendall Graveman to the Astros for Corey Lee.
Kendall Graveman had a period of amazing success the early 2020s.
White Sox were obsessed with grabbing 1 million catchers at this time for some reason.
It's amazing to think about how quickly the landscape can change and how this trade deadline again. And this is an ode to all the selling teams out there. It's on our mind with the Mets that even the deadline, we're like, oh, we have some of the best, the starters available, some of the best relievers available. You really don't even ever have anything remotely close to a guarantee you're going to get any kind of impactful players ever back.
No, I mean, looking at this, some of the most impactful players on here are guys that you probably didn't even consider talking about in terms of trade stuff. Again, Edward Bizardo being one of the bigger names on here is kind of crazy, the fact that he still has an impact. I mean, we saw the Dodgers get Ryan Yarbrough for prospects we've never heard of in our life. Phil Bickford and Adam Kolarek from the Dodgers for cash. There's such weird moves. Oh, my God, James, we didn't talk about one of our favorite memes ever, but I don't think it's ever come up on the windup.
What?
Old Brad Foote getting traded to the Braves. That was a sabotaging move.
That's a player that I just take. There's baseball players from your favorite teams that you just take out of your mind. You get rid of them, compartmentalize them because they just hurt so badly, and he's one of them.
Yeah, so traded for another Barger, just not the good one.
No, and I wanted to look it up because I was curious. That was last year the trade that sent Jake Berger to the Rangers. That was for Maximo Acosta.
Ah, yes, the shortstop prospect.
Yeah, shortstop, defense first shortstop prospect who actually got Major League time last year for the Marlins. That's crazy.
And there goes your camera again. But honestly, it's kind of a good time for us to wrap this one up because there's not many other trades to talk about. The 2023 trade deadline stunk. There's no doubt about it. It was pretty horrible, and it was headlined by the Mets getting rid of big-name people who didn't make any impacts, but they had names that everyone in the world knew, and it's going to make for a great thumbnail, which I can't wait to do. But otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys have not yet done so. We're going to keep going over trade deadlines until you stop watching the videos, so keep watching them so we can keep doing this. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
And I'm Draft Nick Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.